Brett Crowther here with Charles Schwab, and I want to ask this question. Can you identify these three candlestick formations I'm going to go over? But number two, it doesn't matter if you can identify them. And three, do we understand the psychology behind them? And so let's look at this one, for instance, where it comes down to support. And by the way, candlesticks, you can find all kinds of bullish, bearish, engulfing, tweezer tops, whatever. You can find all kinds of things. Really, candlesticks tend to be a little stronger when they're used as a confirmation tool of support and resistance. And so by identifying support and resistance, it can help a lot. But let's look at this. So on this one, we had a bearish candle come down, and it was a strong bearish candle, and then a gap down, followed by the bears pushing it down lower, but they couldn't hold it, and the bulls brought it back up. Now, the bulls didn't gain ground, but they came back to, kind of a consensus here, right? Then the bulls gapped it up and pushed it higher and went at least halfway of this big bearish candle, creating the morning star. But this actually is not a morning star. This is actually an abandoned baby. But doesn't matter if you understand it's an abandoned baby, a bullish abandoned baby, or a morning star. Well, not really. It's the psychology behind it. You can see the changing of the guards there. And here's another one. Now, this is more kind of typical morning star, where it has a big bearish candle, indecisiveness. It's actually just a hammer followed by confirmation of the hammer above the close there. But this one also goes at least halfway the bearish candle, so it gives it a little bit more confirmation, right, as we have that changing of the guards. But again, they don't always turn out textbook perfect. They can look a little bit different. It's just training the eye to kind of see and understand that again, bearishness, indecisiveness, and then bullishness coming back. But sometimes it doesn't even set up that nicely. Sometimes you have some bearishness going on, that indecisiveness. But even though this one closed above the body of the hammer, which would be technically a confirmation of the hammer, it wasn't really a bullish, strong bullish indication. That didn't come until this day right here, where it closed up higher. It closed really kind of midway through that candle and confirmed a morning star. But again, not textbook perfect, but does it have to be, right? And so lastly, I want to show you, we talked about these two formations. Well, now we got something else. Are these tweezer bottoms? Well, not technically, because they're not equal, they're not side by side, but this is basically a situation where the stock had a big bearish candle. By the way, this is support level. If I drew it in here, is support right here. Bearishness, but it gapped up, and then the bulls took over, and you can see the same kind of sentiment of that changing of the guards, right? And so that's something to really consider when looking at candlestick formations. Now, I'm going to put a link into a class in here that goes over, but Barbara Armstrong does a great job talking about candlestick formations. So check that out. Familiarize yourself with candlesticks and what's truly important on them. All right.